Hello, I'm Ben Tankersley, host of a musical offering, the Friday morning classical music program on KHSU-FM, the radio broadcasting arm of the Humboldt State University in Arcata, California. My program and others like it are possible because of Humboldt State University's strong commitment to the arts. This commitment has fostered a number of specialized arts programs, in addition to those of the academic departments on campus, which provide degrees in art, music, and theater. The longest standing of those special programs is the Humboldt Chamber Music Workshop, now in its 50th year. What you see on this video is a series of interviews with musicians who were involved in the establishment and development of the Chamber Music Workshop, which was started by two visionary and dedicated music department professors, Floyd Glendy and Charles Fulkerson, in 1957. The interviews are intended to provide a historic overview of the workshop as it was in the beginning and as it fulfilled the purpose for which it was intended, to encourage the study and performance by musicians in their own communities and widen and deepen the musicians' knowledge of the available chamber literature. This video assumes that those who watch and listen have a strong interest in chamber music and perhaps also in the Humboldt Workshop itself, how it began, how it has grown and flourished. Those who speak to you on the video are your chamber music colleagues who have a first-hand knowledge of the Humboldt Chamber Music Workshop, especially in its earliest years. We very much appreciate the willing participation of Mary Ann Pinchas, Mary Jerlin, Julie Fulkerson, Daniel Gurnay, former directors Phil Cates and Val Phillips, and the current director Alan Geyer. Watch and listen as they tell us how the Chamber Music Workshop came to be.
Well, I first heard about the workshop from Charlie Fulkerson, who was one of the original co-directors with Floyd Glendy. I was playing oboe at the Carmel Bach Festival, and there was this pianist there who was a soloist, Charlie Fulkerson. That was 1958, and we had some pleasant conversations, and that was that. And the next summer, 1959, we were both there again, and he told me about this workshop that they had tried out with local musicians in Eureka, Arcata, and wanted to know if I would be interested in coming up and playing chamber music with the folks. And they were trying to develop a quote, little workshop.
Well, the first year I was just a regular member of the Chamber Music Workshop, and the second year they asked me to be the librarian. So I was in charge of all the music for all the different chamber music groups. The organizers in that first year, in the second year also, it was Floyd Glendy and Charles Fulkerson, and they were the moving force in the organization. And I think probably Douglas Johnson might have helped with the younger groups, and Gene Fulkerson also coached, I believe, at that time. And then there were a few woodwinds, and I think Phil Cates might have coached in that first group. I think they had assignments, and they knew which group they were supposed to do, and they moved. I don't think they stayed more than 15 minutes at a time, and then they'd move on to another group, and then perhaps return before the end of the day. Well, I'm sure their expectations were realized because it grew and grew, and people were very enthusiastic about it, and very full library. And at one time, it was the greatest chamber music library in the state of California. And people were all asking him for where to get all the music.
We had doctors from all over the place, mainly Los Angeles, San Francisco, East San Francisco, East Bay area. Yes, they were participants. And Mel could well have been a coach, but just as the first violinist in any group, and saying very little, but just being a quiet, excellent first violinist was a proper mentor. So any group he was in, what was not likely to need a coach, but Floyd Glendy, the ultimate coach, wanted to be certain that they didn't get hung up in any part of a piece. So he had them play the last page, or the last figure in a piece, and then work back through the piece, so that they had an idea of where they were headed when they started into the piece.
I think it was a combination of just the right place and the right time and the people who were enthused about it, and certainly conveyed that to all of us, and have inspired us to continue to play chamber music and orchestra.
It turned on a lot of people to chamber music playing, and they worked very, very hard, and were so excited that they made plans for the next years.
They've served as an inspiration to us. We constantly refer to Floyd and Charlie and Phil's influence, and of course later Val. It's just a lifelong thing for us.
I met Charles right away. Dwayne knew Charles. Charles knew Dwayne. And Charles was young and handsome and an astounding pianist, and a great teacher of detail and gestalt. In other words, he had the whole picture of music. When Floyd came, that was greatly enhanced. The only way I would have been involved in those very early years, was putting grand pianos where they needed them. And this was before we had the new music building. And so we were rather limited in space. In fact, our first program was in 131.
And so I said, yeah, gee, that sounds like fun. I'll come up. And so he gave me some information and some directions, and that summer I came up, and there was maybe 30 people altogether, most of them from the Humboldt County area, and a few of us, quote, outsiders. And at that time I was living in San Jose and was just starting to teach in the Campbell Union School District public schools, and had a really good time. And at the end of the workshop, Charlie and Floyd asked if I'd be interested in coming back in 1960 and be a player coach. I would be assigned to a group and be the coach for that group, and the other coaches would not come in. At that time, Charlie and Floyd were the coaches, and then also this cellist from the East Bay area, Ruth Saphir, who was a really great cellist and outstanding coach. And 61 and 62, they asked me to become a regular staff member.